So we're back from that brief intermission because we had some technical difficulties. I just wanted to kind of check out. So you can read that scripture.
This is Matthew 21:10. And when he was come into Jerusalem, all the city was moved, saying, Who is this? And the multitude said, This is Yahushua, the prophet of Nazareth of Galilee. And Yahushua went into the temple of the Most High, and cast out all them that sold and brought in the temple, and overthrew the tables of the money changers, and the seats of them that sold doves, and said unto them, It is written, My house shall be called the house of prayer, but you have made it in a den of thieves. And the blind and the lame came to him in the temple, and he healed them. And when the chief priests and scribes saw the wonderful things that he did, and the children crying in the temple and saying, Hosanna to the Son of David, they were sore displeased, and said unto him, Hearest thou what these say? And Yahushua saith unto them, Yea, have you never read, Out of the mouth of babes and sucklings thou hast perfected praise?
Yeah, so basically he jacked him up because he was mad as hell. Because he saw the nonsense that were going on, you know. Now I want to go from here. I want to change gears a little bit, just to give you a story. This is Second Maccabees in the Apocrypha, the 3rd chapter. We're going to start from the first verse and we're going to read down. Now this was during the time of the Maccabees. And the treasury that Israel had at that time, and this is the story of how one of these devils try to take the treasures from the treasury, and the angel came down in a gold armor and beat the shit out of him, literally. So I'm gonna pass it to you.
All right, this is 2 Maccabees chapter 3:1. Now when the holy city was inhabited with all peace, and the laws were kept very well, because of the godliness of Onias, the high priest, and his hatred of wickedness, it came to pass at even the kings themselves did honor the place and magnify the temple with their best gifts, insomuch that Seleucus, king of Asia, his own revenue, bare all the costs belonging to the service of the sacrifices. But one Simon of the tribe of Benjamin, who was made governor of the temple, fell out with the high priest about disorder in the city. And when he could not overcome Onias, he got him to Apollonius, the son of Thracius, who then was governor of Cilicia and Phenice, and told him that the treasury in Jerusalem was full of infinite sums of money, so that the multitude of their riches, which did not pertain to the account of the sacrifices, was innumerable, and that it was possible to bring all into the king's hand. Now this was an Uncle Tom sellout among Israel that went to these devils, you know, and told them about all the riches that were in the temple, you know, and he was telling them how they can get a hold of all this money. Now when Apollonius came to the king and had showed him of the money whereof he was told, the king chose out Heliodorus his treasurer, and keep that name in mind, Heliodorus, because that's a key figure, you know, in Daniel the 11th chapter, and chose out Heliodorus his treasurer, and sent him with a commandment to bring him the foresaid money. So forthwith Heliodorus took his journey under a color of visiting the cities of Cilicia. Now the word there is color. Now if you know anything about the word color, that means in the guise, you know, or like in appearance, right? Being fake about it, like color of law. Right? In the color of law, you know, which it seems like it's a law, but it's not. It's just a color of law or guise. It says Heliodorus took his journey under a color of visiting the city of Cilicia and Phenice, but indeed to fulfill the king's purpose. So that's what he was doing. It says, and when he was come to Jerusalem and had been courteously received of the high priest of the city, he told him what intelligence was given of the money, and declared wherefore he came, and asked if these things were so indeed. Then the high priest told him that there was such money laid up for the relief of the widows and fatherless children, and that some of it belonged to Hyrcanus, son of Tobias, a man of great dignity, and not as the wicked Simon had misinformed. The sum whereof in all was 400 talents of silver and 200 of gold, and that it was altogether impossible that such wrongs should be done unto them that had committed it to the holiness of the place, and to the majesty and inviolable sanctity of the temple, honored over all the world. But Heliodorus, because of the king's commandment given him, said that in any wise it must be brought into the king's treasury. So that at the day which he appointed, he entered into order this matter, wherefore there was no small agony throughout the whole city. But the priests, prostrating themselves before the altar in the priest's vestments, called unto heaven upon him that made a law concerning things given to be kept, that they should safely be preserved for such as had committed them to be kept. Whoso had looked the high priest in the face, it would have wounded his heart for his countenance, and the changing of his color declared the inward agony of his mind. For the man was so compassed with fear and horror of the body, that it was manifest to them that looked upon him that what sorrow he had now in his heart. Others ran flocking out of their houses to the general supplication, because the place was like to come into contempt. And the women, girt with sackcloth under their breasts, abounded in the streets, and the virgins that were kept in ran, some to the gates and some to the walls, and others looked out of the windows, and all, holding their hands toward heaven, made supplications. Then it would have pitied a man to see the falling down of the multitude of all sorts, and the fear of the high priest being in such an agony. They then called upon the Almighty Lord to keep the things committed of trust safe and sure for those that had committed them. Nevertheless, Heliodorus executed that which was decreed. Now as he was there present himself with his guards about the treasury, the Lord of spirits and the Prince of all power caused a great apparition, so that all that presumed to come in with him were astonished at the power of the Most High, and fainted, and were sore afraid. For there appeared unto them an horse with a terrible rider upon him, and adorned with a very fair covering, and he ran fiercely and smote at Heliodorus with his forefeet. And it seemed that he that sat upon the horse had complete harness of gold. Moreover,
this was an angel that came down with the order to just beat the shit out of this devil.
Moreover, 2 other young men appeared before him, notable in strength, excellent in beauty, and comely in apparel, who stood by him on either side, and scourged him continually, and gave him many sore stripes. And Heliodorus fell suddenly unto the ground, and was compassed with great darkness. But they that were with him took him up, and put him into a litter. Thus him that lately came with a great train, and with all the guard into the said treasury, they carried out, being unable to help himself with his weapons. And manifestly they acknowledged the power of the Most High. For he by the hand of the Most High was cast down, and lay speechless without all hope of life. But they praised the Lord that had miraculously honored his...
The angel beat him to an inch of his life.
But they praised the Lord that had miraculously honored his own place. For the temple, which a little afore was full of fear and trouble, when the Almighty Lord appeared, was filled with joy and gladness. Then straightways certain of Heliodorus' friends prayed Onias that he would call upon the Most High to grant him his life, who lay ready to give up the spirit. So the high priest, suspecting lest the king should misconceive that some treachery had been done to Heliodorus by the Jews, offered a sacrifice for the health of the man. Now as the high priest was making an atonement, the same young men in the same clothing appeared and stood beside Heliodorus, saying, Give Onias the high priest great thanks, insomuch as for his sake the Lord hath granted thee life. And seeing that thou hast been scourged from heaven, declare unto all men the mighty power of the Most High. And when they had spoken these words, they appeared no more. So Heliodorus, after he had offered sacrifice unto the Lord, and made great vows unto him that had saved his life, and saluted Onias, returned with his host to the king. Then testified he to all men the works of the great power which he had seen with his eyes. And when the king asked Heliodorus who might be a fit man to be sent yet once again to Jerusalem, he said, If thou hast any enemy or traitor Send him thither, and thou shalt receive him well scourged, if he escape with his life. For in that place, no doubt, there is an especial power of the Most High.
Yeah, because you're going to see that power. They try to take from the treasury. They found out the amount of gifts and gold and silver that was in that treasury. And just like this devil does, he wants to take it, man. Why you think he's over there in the Middle East? He wants the resources over there. And he's doing it because he thinks in his mind that the Most High is with him, or there's no such thing as the Most High, but there's going to come a time where the Most High is going to intervene and show his power. Because you devils say in your heart that there's no God, or we question God and so forth. But you know what? There's going to come a time where you can't question it. That it's going to be the evidence going to be overwhelming. So you in the time of your end, man. And from this day forth, it's going to get worse and worse. The Most High going to bring his wrath against you damn devils, you Edomites. So with that, I'm going to say shalom.